Honestly, this was an amazing chapter. This was just flat out an amazing chapter. The depth, some of the, not necessarily foreshadowings, but look back that Suishida did in this chapter and the comparisons he'd done prior to this one. It's just, this chapter all around was just great. It was really a great chapter. Let's start off with Nutcracker versus Shirazu. Now, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was a time gap. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a time gap, because we see like the fight going on and then we see Shirazu like screaming, you know, you just gotta do it once. And I think there was a time gap, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Shirazu and the other dude that took out Nutcracker, but it was actually Psycho, and then Shirazu just did the finishing job. And we don't know everything about Psycho just yet, so I'm not 100% sure if it could have been, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was her. And if that's the case, that's fucking awesome as hell. That like off screen we don't really know necessarily what she could do, so later on we might see some crazy shit from her or whatever. And either way, just Nutcracker's backstory, it just fits so well. First of all, the whole thing that she had going, Nutcracker cracking people's nuts and shit like that, cracking dudes' nuts or whatever, going into her backstory and understanding all the fucked up implied stuff that is showed in that one page. And it's like, that's great when you can literally make me feel something for a character with one page. Like, prior to this one, it's just like, this bitch looks like a stripper, she's cracking dudes' nuts, she's crazy, she doesn't give a shit. And then you got one page and it immediately turns everything around. Like, it was fucked up what we seen in that. It really was, like, at the end of the day, the implied rape, the things that we seen or whatever, and then those final words that she said, I just wanted to be beautiful. It's like, it's sad shit, honestly. And one of the things that I noticed is, if you remember back, it kind of reminds me of when Toka was fighting Mado and how she looked at the inspectors as they're all pieces of shit. But when she ended up, you know, finishing off Mado, she actually started to understand, wow, the inspectors aren't all that bad necessarily. And I think that Shirazu, to a certain extent, understood that as well when he was killing Nutcrackers. Like, he probably thought to himself, wow, maybe all ghouls aren't that bad. So definitely a very good comparison there, what Suishida did. He's a master at a lot of things like that, and I really just honestly adore the fact that he does things like that, because it just really connects things very well and meshes very well. And just that alone would have sufficed as a good chapter. That alone would have been like, well, damn, pretty good shit. Sad stuff on Nutcracker's side, and at the same time, we don't know if Psycho finished it off. But then there's more to the chapter, and that's what's like, wow. The whole thing with Takizawa fucking up Sasaki. First of all, honestly, to a certain extent, I feel like Sasaki hides, while he's the same body, necessarily, you know, as Ken Kaneki, he isn't, like, any which way. Like, I don't, and it's crazy. It's the same dude, but not really mentally. I don't care for Sasaki hides. I feel bad for him now, but, like, he's just getting his ass whipped. And it's like, when Takizawa is basically mocking him and screams out, Ken Kaneki, I felt 1 ounce of sympathy, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the tear in Sasuke's eyes, because he knows that if that comes back, he might totally, like, be lost. Sasuke Highs might not be no more, and he might completely lose himself. And I think to a certain extent, he's not happy with what's going on right now, because we know about the whole thing of him putting his hand on his chin when he lies or whatever, so he's not necessarily 100% content with things, but I think he does like the fact of who he is. It's just that he doesn't want to completely be ignorant to who he was. So when you see the tear in his eye, it's kind of like, I don't want to lose myself. I don't want to lose the people that I want to protect and things like that. So definitely it got me there. And honestly, Takizawa, fuck you. You're a savage. You're a good savage, but seriously, that's just messed up. And I don't know who it was. I couldn't really recall who that was playing it on the loudspeaker, but just look at the tragedy that they're doing right here. While Takizawa's torturing Sasaki, he put it on loudspeaker so everybody could hear his screams and some revelations as well. So might have people looking a certain way at Sasaki after this, and at the same time it's also going to be broadcast of how he's going to hopefully next chapter become Ken Kaneki and fuck that dude up. And then it doesn't stop there. You got a couple panels of Ayato going in, you got Akira going in, and then at the same time it also plays into how she feels about Sasaki when you see her like flipping out like, who is Sasaki Highs fighting right now, and things of that nature. It's like, you can see that she genuinely does care about him and she's worried about him, and a lot of them are, and that goes to show how even when he's not Ken Kaneki, when he's Sasaki Highs, he's still a good person that people like and care about. And it sucks because at the end of the day, we know for a long time Ken Kaneki had that problem of feeling alone, and at the end of the day, he did admit at the end of chapter, what was it, 143? It was somewhere along the ends of the original Tokyo Ghoul that he feels like he's selfish. He doesn't necessarily do these things and help people because he's like, you know, I'm a good person. It's more so because he doesn't want to be alone. So you get that aspect in there, and it's kind of like, it's not necessarily that you're being selfish. I think everyone to a certain degree is selfish, and it's just at the end of the day, you're gaining comrades by being a good person. And yeah, okay, maybe your motive isn't 100% like Goku of the day or whatever, but at the very least, you're a good person. And I think that it just really shows when people like, even Akira, you know, sometimes she could be a bitch. She's just completely freaked out, worried about him. And then just seeing the reactions of different people, Uta taking off the mask and everything. Honestly, this chapter, it was a really great chapter. Like, the only thing I will say is, I wish it would have been him saying, I am Ken Kaneki at the end of the chapter, or something along the lines of that. But Suishida, who knows? If he really is teasing this far, and we don't get Ken, our boy Ken, back, I'm going to be disappointed. Like, I really hope we get to see, even if it's for a slither of a second, next chapter, Ken Kaneki return. That's what I'm really hoping for. But aside from that, 9.5 out of 10 for this chapter. Great chapter nonetheless. Really good stuff. Really a lot of depth and everything. And one of the things that will have me dying laughing is if Psycho and Shirazu got promotions and Uri didn't. If that happens, oh my gosh. And at the end of the day, we don't know what's going on right now with Big Madam and him, but he might not get anything if he don't defeat Big Madam or whatever. But they might get rewards for defeating Nutcracker, so that will be hilarious, and that will be karma biting that motherfucker in the ass. Let me know what you guys thought of this incredible chapter. First of all, what did you think about Nutcracker's backstory? Did you get the resemblance to the whole thing when Toka defeated Mato, and how she thought, the inspectors aren't maybe all that bad, and likewise vice versa with Shirazu when he killed? Do you think that it was Psycho that did it off screen? Like, and if that's the case, I'm really more intrigued about Psycho now. Like, I didn't really care too much about Psycho. It was like, okay, she's a NEET, she's blah blah blah, but like, finding that out, that's a possibility, that would be hype as shit. Also, biggest question, do you think that Ken Kaneki will return next chapter after hearing his name, after Sasaki heard it? Do you think we're gonna get our boy back? What do you think about Uta's reaction when he took off the mask and everything? Just so much insanity. Like, Tokyo Ghoul has been building and building and building, and these past 2 chapters have just been insane. Like, it's really getting to the climax of this arc, and it's great. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.